good afternoon, good evening if you're watching this at a later date in the recording. We are so glad you're here. I'm Steph Lee, the founder of Host Agency Reviews, and today we have a wonderful webinar again for you. You may recognize Jeremy Brady with G Adventures, who has done past webinars with us. Hello, Jeremy. How are you?
Good. How are you? How's everyone? Good to be here.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I didn't open up my chat. Okay, so I've opened up my chat now, so now I can see anything anyone's typing in. So go ahead, tell us where you're tuning in from. I'm in from Minneapolis, where it's a dreary, rainy, and gray day, which is okay because I have an affogato,
Mm.
which is my excuse to have ice cream in the morning. And Jeremy, where are you tuning in?
I'm in the lovely Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So, yep, exciting times. It's actually kind of nice and relaxing today. The sun is out and it's not too hot, so I'm enjoying it.
Ah, I'm really jealous because it is so dreary out today. But that's okay. Great for the plants. Okay, we've got North Carolina, Canada, New York. Great. We're so glad all of you are here, and hopefully you'll get your learning on about groups and G adventures. So, Jeremy, let's have you share your screen and then oh,
Mm.
we got Jennifer's in Florida where it looks like it is very hot. Jennifer, I'm going to send you some of our very cold. I'm wearing a sweater today.
Mm.
Very cold weather for you so that it can cool you down.
Tallahassee. All right. That's where our Tim Knight, he's our southeast rep. He lives up in Tallahassee. Exciting. Ooh.
Nice.
All right. So, yep, I will share screen here. 1 second, Chrome. Let's see. We got this going. I
Uh,
think we see everything. Now, I won't be able to see any of you, but hopefully, Steph, you got my back here. We'll
I won't make faces, don't worry.
All right, folks. Well, thank you. Thank you for having me today. I'm really excited to talk about private groups with G Adventures because I feel like this is a huge opportunity, and you'll see how flexible we are with just the group sizes and everything and the terms that we have in place. So, I'm really, I do want to make sure that everyone has my contact information as well. So here's my email if you need to reach out to me. In addition to that, I have a Popple link, and that takes you to it has a link tree as well, which has all of our relevant information that we update, so it's evergreen and it keeps getting updated. So definitely make sure you take advantage of that and have that. And I'll go back to it at the end as well if we need to. But for those that aren't familiar with our team, yes, we are across the U.S. I have 5 what we call GPSs, Global Purpose Specialists. So these are the ladies and gentlemen that'll be helping you with your private groups as well in terms of trying to find the best fit. They are a great resource. Many of them have been with G 10 plus years. I mean, Eduardo Cartaya is probably our senior veteran. He's been there, I think, 13 years. Miss Kara Lucchese's been there 10 plus years with me. And then Tim and Jonas actually are former guides that we call CEOs, Chief Experience Officers. So they were on the ground leading tours. Tim was leading our Southeast tours, and then Jonas was leading our tours in Iceland. And then more recently, we've also had Natalie Line join us, and she was from Colorado, and she worked on the agency side and was a former travel advisor as well. So many of us have experience, and we're here to help you. And then the other team, the inside team, this is the special team I want to feature. It's the private travel team. Miss Kat, she's the one that manages the team, and then she has five folks there running the show for you, helping you out. They're there getting the quotes and everything. Amazing people to work with. Then they do their best to support you in any of your questions and answers and needs that you might have. So just wanted to show some faces so that way you know, because maybe some of you have seen the names in the email back and forth, or maybe been on phone calls, but I figured I'd show the faces of these lovely individuals that you'd be working with. So why groups at G Adventures? Well, let's take a look at that. If I don't get a delay here, whoop, there we go. All right, so private groups with G Adventures is actually very easy. All you need is a minimum of 8 travelers, and that makes a private group with us. So 8 names, I mean, that could be 4 couples or even just friends or family, extended family traveling together. Next, we also allow you to pick your own date. So if you have a specific date in mind, we're able to pick any of those itineraries that we have and make it fall on the date of your choosing. Next, there is no payment up front. This is crazy. We don't require upfront deposits, so we'd allow you to market this for up to some cases 90 to 120 days prior before we would require a $350 deposit for a minimum of 8 travelers to confirm the trip.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy stuff. And then we do have a what we call a FOC or a tour conductor spot for those that are in the private group space. So after 11 paying passengers, typically the 12th one would be the freebie that we would offer. There are some new updates too that I'll share at the end that may be even more enticing for you. And then, of course, we provide marketing support. So we do have some collateral that you're able to repurpose and leverage when marketing a private group with G, and I'll show you where that resource is. And then, of course, the personal connection. We have our GPS team, and then of course you'll build a relationship with the private group team, and they are more than happy to support you, like I mentioned. And I really don't like the graphics on this. This is like, slow-mo, like, whoop, leaves you in
It's
suspense.
working. I don't think it's as bad as it is for you because it looks normal to me.
All right, perfect. And then, of course, yes, you have control of the group in terms of who you want to bring on it and the type of focus of the group. So whether that be you leading the trip yourself or bringing a tour conductor on the group. So we'll talk about many different opportunities and ways to do that. So, what is a group at G Adventures? Well, a group, there's two types that we have. There's a preformed group, and that's where you have, luckily, then everyone loves this when you have 8 people that come in and ready to pay up out the gate. That is a preformed group. And I know everyone loves those because it's very, very good. But then, yes, we also have what we call a marketing group, and that's a speculative group where you're trying to find 8 spots to fill, and you're reaching out to your audiences, different various audiences, or working with another organization to help fill those spots for you. So preform group, yeah, I'm going to skip some of this because I feel like I'm repeating the same thing. So like I mentioned, they're already ready to go. You know who's traveling. They come in together. Again, I want to remind you that 8 people, some cases that is a family, like an extended family, or maybe 2 families that want to travel together, or 8 couples or a group of friends. Definitely a lot easier to fill 8 spaces than the traditional 20 spots.
Mhm.
Now, in terms of the marketing, what is a marketing group? Again, we don't know who's traveling yet, but you are putting your face out there. It's the one marketing your agency doing a wonderful job and getting people inspired to travel. So they reach out to you when they see that, and then they're able to book from there. So talking about groups, though, some of those that might be not, maybe this is new to them and they want to get into the group game, there's different types of groups that you can go after. So you can collaborate with some organizations in your backyard and some groups that are in your area. So whether that be a wellness focused group or women's groups, friend and family, like I mentioned, school alumni groups, people that are inspired by, there's photography groups out there. There's also a lot of singles groups. And
Yeah.
then the easy one for us, especially in the adventure world, is the active groups, the hiking clubs that are in your area. Or maybe there's a team building opportunity or reunions that you want to bring together. And then for maybe some of the young folks, the graduation trips. So those are the types of things you can start thinking about when you are looking at, what you want to do for a private group.
So, Jeremy, I have a question. What's the, I don't want to say craziest, but most unusual group that you've run across that an advisor has put together?
Um, One of the I think it's a geocaching group. So have you heard of the geocaching? It's where yeah.
Yeah.
So we've had a few of those, some of those advisors in our community that have done that, and it was cool. I was like, wow, we were able to put that together. That's really cool. That's a unique one that we've done. Some other ones, I would say, we've done some photography ones. There's also We do a lot of women's groups as well. Um,
Mhm.
and there are some active folks out there. I would say those are the most popular with us.
Interesting. Geocaching. I love it.
Yeah. Talk about unique, huh? That I was like, that is cool that we're able to fit that into the model.
Yeah, that's really neat.
So, when it comes to looking at a trip for G Adventures, one of the key things is we try not to do a lot of FIT. So, we're not going to build it from scratch. We're going to take some of our existing itineraries that we offer. And then when you look at a trip, it's basically a duplicate. And then you own that departure, it's yours. Now, you can choose your own date, like I mentioned. But then there's also another version where we would take one of those existing trips and maybe slightly enhance it. Now, what I mean by enhance, let's make sure we set the right expectation. I'm not changing the itinerary, like the logistics of the itinerary, but maybe adding a few dinners in there or activity specific items. Or maybe if it is the right area, we'd be switching to a different hotel. If, say, we wanted to upgrade a hotel on one of our classic trips or something along those lines. So minor enhancements is kind of what I want to make sure that we say instead of saying, "Oh yeah, you can just build it from scratch." That's not what we do. And
Mhm.
just to kind of help you out, I mean, we have over 650 trips to choose from. I think we have something in there that'll work.
Yeah, and for those of you that didn't see our other G Adventures webinar earlier this year, Mary, can you pop the link in there for people that want a little bit to learn a little bit more about G and their actual trips and the trip types and that it's not just for young travelers that are in their 20s backpacking, it's for a huge range of people. I learned a lot from it. So check that out if you haven't already.
Awesome. Thank you for the plug. Yay. Right. So again, these are just kind of some of the points I've already mentioned, but you can open a departure on a new date. So choose your own date. Again, this is an exact duplicate of any itinerary that you see featured on our website. And if it's available, we do have an existing date that you can take as well, as long as no one's on there, already booked on there. So you could pull that. And then just to kind of give you a little secret, we do have some dates that are not published, and what I recommend doing is reaching out to your GPS
Hmm.
to give you the insight on that. Because sometimes we might have some dates available that we want to give out to our advisor community only, and they're not published on the website. So please be sure to loop in your GPS, and they can check on that for you.
Cool.
Yep. And then let's see. This looks a little repetitive, so let's move on. Enhanced trips here. We also these are ones again that are not built from scratch, but maybe making minor adjustments. So adding like a pre or post, adding meals. Um, Depending on the trip length, we could remove a day or two if needed, but generally I would say we're going to keep it as is in terms of the logistics and layout and the number of days. And then if the entire group wants to participate in something, we'll include an activity that's paid, that's part of the package versus paid when you're in destination. And then in certain places where we do a lot of volume, so key places I want to mention would be places like Peru, Costa Rica, South Africa, and Southeast Asia. Those would be areas where we may have flexibility to increase the group size, but we have to factor in things like the vehicle cost and all that. So when it comes to that, we'll be able to kind of guide you. Your GPS and then your inside groups person will be able to walk you through what we can do. But the minimum number again for everything is going to be 8 travelers.
And when would you recommend to, if someone's looking to get a group started with you, how far out in advance would you recommend they start doing it to be successful?
To be successful, and especially if you haven't done it before, I would highly recommend doing that year out in advance. And then as you get more consistent in learning how to sell groups, then I would say you can go maybe as low as 6 months, but generally that year, yeah, 6 to 12 months is a great range and gives you enough time to promote a group.
Hmm.
Most of the first payments, again, because we don't require upfront deposits, payments would be up to 90 to 120 days prior in most cases. That's where the deposit would be due. So that gives you quite a good bit of time to market these if you're not doing a preformed group.
Perfect.
All right. So Like I mentioned too, there's a bunch of different trips to choose from, and then we have our various travel styles at G Adventures. I think in this slide they highlight some that are the most popular. So our advisor communities are generally booking our classic or active in both the National Geographic Journeys travel styles that we offer. So those would be the best ones I would recommend. We do offer private groups for like marine tours, but those are going to be a little bit different with different booking expectations as well. Some of the marine stuff. So if you're going to do like a Galapagos vessel, we may require deposits up front for that. And then that would be something like in some cases, 6 to 8 months in advance, we'd require deposits and then a percentage down as you progress. But all those would be laid out in the terms before you sign them. So you'd be able to take a look at what those are. And then everything else is, if it's just a normal land tour, it's generally the same policy.
Hmm.
And then something that's a new opportunity that I just want to try to throw out there. I feel like private groups and National Geographic Family Journeys is a good combination right there. And I want to make sure advisors are aware that these are amazing trips that are affordable. And I could see groups of families just traveling together in your community. This is, again, I think with these, you can have up to 20 people on these. So think if you had 3 or 4 families that wanted to travel together, friends, this would be an amazing opportunity.
Does it have a naturalist then with the or the National Geographic on there then?
So
Or
we
is
would
it
have
still
Yep, so we would have 2 CEOs on there that are National Geographic employees. Um,
Mhm.
one would help with the kid activity, the activities for the children, and then there would also be
Ah.
activities for the adults. So it kinda gives the adults a little relief, on the activities and entertaining. And then, yeah, we've increased the group size for this one to 20 because we want to ensure that we could fit 3 to 4 families on these trips.
Mhm. Cool.
So I think that's going to be. I might have a few more slides. They wanted me to showcase a few popular ones that we do a lot of volume in. So Costa Rica is a great group destination for us. A lot of volume. We have the Costa Rica Quest, and then there's a National Geographic version of this trip, which is almost exactly the same route, just upgraded hotels, and then we include a little more educational components tied to it that are part of National Geographic. But these are amazing first group opportunities for folks, the easiest ones, I think, in our group lineup of trips that you can sell. Um, Another one to feature is Morocco. We see a lot of solo female groups doing Morocco with us. And an example of this would be one in our National Geographic, the 9-day Morocco journey. And then to give some more inspiration, Egypt is a fun group destination as well. This is our highlights of Egypt. This is a 14-day trip, a little bit longer. And what's cool with this one is you get to overnight sail on a felucca. And there's just some
Ooh.
unique aspects to this one. Yep. South Africa. I have to say, with National Geographic, South Africa is our number one selling destination, even, private groups and retail as well. But explore Southern Africa. This is the staple trip. Very high demand for this one. We've actually had so much demand that we do have to change the terms a little bit. 6 months in advance, we would require deposits for this one because of the demand for this itinerary. It's one of the best ones that we offer in our lineup.
And someone is headed there very shortly. And
Oh,
so if you don't already follow him on social, follow Jeremy because he should be posting some amazing pictures from South Africa.
absolutely. Yep. So I am doing a version of this trip. I'm doing the 10-day version, which is basically, I'm not going to be able to do the Victoria Falls, but
Oh.
it'll give me a reason to go back. But I'm going to be doing Cape Town, Johannesburg, Kruger National Park, and then Karangwe. So I'm very, very excited for that. Part of the National Geographic exclusive is the opportunity to go to the private game reserve, stay there, and then you're led by a National Geographic researcher that's part of the Big Cats initiative. Very cool stuff. I'm giddy. I cannot wait. I
What's
leave
the Big Cats initiative?
So that's one of the largest National Geographic projects that they support. So they have the grants across the world for projects, and it's uncovering research on preservation and conservation. So you get to learn, and then you have a private game drive experience with that expert, which is part of the program.
Oh,
So
I
yes,
can't wait for pictures.
I know. I leave Sunday. I still got to pack. So yes, do tune in, follow me. I'll share my credentials at the end as well for you to follow along. All right. And then another popular one that I want to showcase is local living. This is a really cool product where you unpack once, and then you get to do day trips out and about you could be staying in a villa or a limoncello farm. It's more rustic Europe is what we do with this one specifically. Most of them are going to be in Italy, and then we have another, I think, property that we use in Croatia as well. It's been very popular with our US advisors. They do love this one. So definitely check it out. We have a couple of different ones across the board. Sorrento, Amalfi Coast are some of the most popular ones.
Nice.
All right. And then, of course, I kind of talked about Marine a little bit, but yes, we do have some different policies with the Marine. Again, this is one that I would say if you're a little more advanced and have done groups, then we can talk about this. But this may be something a little tougher for those that haven't sold groups yet. I would say kind of get some practice in first, and then you can start tackling some of these more complex ones.
So you have it in Ecuador for the Galapagos. Where are the other locations or the popular marine ones, just out of curiosity?
Yeah, so we have sailing product in Greece, Croatia. We have a fisherman's donie in the Maldives. I've done that
Mm,
one. And Thailand is a very popular one for us too. We have sailing in Sri Lanka as well. Those are some of the core ones that we do a lot of sailing. Um, and then
cool.
we do have our own expedition ship, but those are going to be specific blocks where, yes, we can block maybe 4 to 5 cabins for you and do a rolling allocation. But those ones definitely will be like a year in advance because of the demand. And we only have one ship. So but that's the Marine speak there. And then my team wanted to kind of share the process of how this works because you're like, okay, I want to do a group, but how does this flow? What's the workflow for this? So essentially, you would log into Sherpa, our agent portal, and then there is a tab in there that says Request Private Group. So you would submit your request, and then we would generate a nice little response for you. Say, hey, we got your request. We'll be back to you in 2 to 3 business days. And then from there, our team would internally review and then block the space for you, and then you would be able to market to your clients. And then, like I mentioned, some you won't have there won't be any deposits due up until 90 to 120 days prior, and then the minimum number to reach is 8 travelers. And then once you confirm 8 travelers, that trip is running. Now, I wanted to save this for the end, but I'm going to mention it now. For whatever reason, and we've decided to change this policy, if you are not able to fulfill 8 people, or let's say you have 8 people and then one cancels off last second, that's quite a bummer in most cases for most people. So
Mhm.
what we'll do for you is we will open that trip up to the public and allow those, maybe say you only have 6 people. We'll still let those 6 people travel, but then we might have other travelers join on. So that way they still have the opportunity to travel. And then we have a little time to sell it and help you out if we're not able to fulfill the 8 minimum. So that's a new thing that just came out recently. In addition to that, we are offering flexible terms now and I don't have new slides because it literally just came out. So that's why I'm verbally sharing this. Very exciting stuff. So I think you'll have fun announcements coming out too if you haven't already. We'll be sending some emails out to everyone if you're registered with G Adventures. But we have a new policy now where if you are able to get 8 travelers, the eighth traveler is 50% off. So we're trying to entice you to fill that even with just a 50% off. And then once you get up to 11 paying travelers, then we'll go to the full free spot for you. So those are just something I wanted to mention, that we're opening that up now
Nice.
to all of our private groups to make it even easier and more enticing too for our advisor friends to join us on these trips, because our agent discount policy is 50% off. So magic how that works, right? All right. So I think that is all I really have. I actually this is a cool slide. I didn't know we had. This is a fun one. Um,
I really love the cell phone and the rotary phone.
I know, yes. Oh my gosh, Nokia. I haven't seen one of those in a long time. And
I
then
know,
you
I think I had that one.
that was my first cell phone, I think. Yeah, everyone had the Nokia.
I think that was mine too. That's awesome.
But not to be too repetitive on here, but you can see like people are, how to grow your business and where to look for it. Like I've mentioned things. There's photography groups, women's groups, hiking groups, and then places to find them. Yeah, look at Facebook. I mean, that's the gold mine right there of groups everywhere, and it brings a lot of communities together. So I highly recommend if you have a presence on Facebook to use that. You can start doing hashtag searches on Instagram, LinkedIn. That's an interesting one, the LinkedIn one. I don't know how much I would use that for marketing groups, but hey, if it works, it works. Um, there's also a lot of these groups too will have meetups. Just join in there, and a lot of times you can find out like where do they do their travel with, who they do it with. In most cases, it might be that person, and then you're like, hey, I can make your life easier. Let me handle all the logistics. You can still be the front man or front woman and run it, and I'll just do everything on the back end for you. Because a lot of times, yeah, it's one person that's trying to handle and juggle all that. And then you
Yeah.
might be the relief. You might be the hero that comes in there and say, hey, I can take that all off your plate, and then I can offer you incentive to travel for free.
Yeah.
Um, so, yep, some of the other places, gyms, yoga. We see a lot of yoga groups trying to do that too. Cycling, boxing, running, some breweries. Yeah, that's a good one. And yeah,
Corporate travel too. So
oh,
do you have a
sorry.
lot of like uh team building groups or something, or what's the corporate travel?
Yeah, so the corporate travel one, that's organized. Yeah, that can be organized. I would say, I mean, we're still gonna be doing normal tours because we don't do, FIT. So
Mhm.
it would be, if there's built-in free time, then I guess in this instance, that's where we would say, yes, there's gonna be a couple hour block where they have to, kind of run through their agenda on what they want to do, but then mix in some travel. I would say the places to probably do that with us would be like our Costa Rica, our Perus, places there we do have a lot of flexibility to do light enhancements, if needed for something along those lines.
Mhm.
All right, I'm kind of playing slide roulette. This is fun. Uh, private
That's
group.
fun, I
Like,
love that. We should do a webinar called Slide Roulette where we have people on and then it's just like they don't know what's coming next, but they have to talk on it.
absolutely. Well, luckily, it's all product I know. It's just in a different order than I would want. But as you can see, they kind of did some screenshots here. So in Sherpa, you will see a private group quote request. That's where you click on it, and then you would fill out this information. Um, Again, my recommendation is before you get to that point, have a conversation with your GPS, and then know that they also have access to the dates, the departures for maybe a specific trip that you're looking at that's not available to the public, and we'd be able to kind of help you out with that. So, um, you can also reach out directly to groups at gadventures.com, or pick up the phone and make a lovely phone call, and we'd be more than happy to help you. So, I think that's going to be it for me on the slides. I do want to go back again, give everyone an opportunity to let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Look at all that. Wow. Doo, doo. There you go.
Boom.
If you need to scan my Popple card there, that'll give you access to all of our resources. We have a evergreen link tree on there. Definitely click that one. Check it out. And can I switch sharing tabs? Because I have the tab of the other one open. I don't know if it'll go to that.
That's a good question. Try it and I'll let you know.
Let's see. So I click that. Share this tab instead.
Oh,
Okay.
there we go. Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, this is our link tree on here. So if you're not registered for G Adventures, you'd be able to click here and register. So definitely do that. And then we'll have some announcements up here. So I want to mention that GX is back for us. This is our annual event that we do where we bring in top sellers from all around the world. And then we bring in some of our supplier partners and number one G fans. We're going to have over probably 400 people at this event. And it's more of a way to bring everyone together and showcase community tourism in action, really show like what happens behind the scenes and the impact that community tourism makes in the area. It's an amazing event. Lots of opportunities to go. We do some drawings and have some wild cards. I think this incentive is just wrapped up. So now we're going to be announcing all of our GX winners here in the coming weeks. So stay
Yay!
tuned, and congratulations to those that are tuning in that have won a spot. I can't wait to see you in India. And then every month we'll have our sale, so we'll have information on there for you. And then we have another fun incentive that we're doing is Taylor Swift tickets, where there's still an opportunity to win a ticket to go to Taylor Swift with us in October. So,
Awesome.
yep, 15 spots, and it's a rolling allocation. So if you do some high ticket items with revenue, if you have the highest revenue, you will definitely jump up there into one of the top spots. It's 15 spots. I think you can do it.
Yay!
And then yeah, all the fun stuff, marketing support, the asset library. So when you're wanting to, you have one of those groups that you want to market out to, you can pull all of our pre-made imagery videos for you to leverage. So and then there's just some more how to make a booking. So if you want to learn how to do all that stuff, that's on there. Hey, there's that private group stuff I was talking about. Woohoo.
Yeah, wow.
And then we have our Who is my GPS? So if you don't know who your GPS is, you'll click there and that'll take you to that map I showed earlier. And then, of course, please join our Facebook Agents of Change group. There's going to be a lot of resources on there and updates that we'll share on the regular for you to keep you up to speed on all things G. So that is all I have on the sharing side of things. I am back in action. Here we are.
That was great. Thanks for sharing the link tree. We do have a question from Teresa. She's wondering, if you have a cancellation and you open it to the public, what if it doesn't sell? What happens to the lower rate for the group?
Oops, say that again. Sorry, it cut out a little bit for me.
Oh, if you have a cancellation and you open it to the public, what if it doesn't sell? What happens to the lower rate for the group?
So they'll have the same rate. The number, if we'll still run the group if it has less than 8, but we'll try to. I'm still kind of not tracking that question. I guess if there isn't enough spots that fill for 8 and we still run it, we'll still run the trip. It'll be public, but there just may be other folks coming in. They won't have the incentive that they have, which would be
Mm.
50% off the 8th spot because they didn't meet the requirement of 8 people. But we'll still have the retail selling price that they'll have.
Okay, so price will remain the same.
Correct. Now, if they want to still run it with less than 8, they would pay a supplement to offset that 8 spot requirement. So that's an
Okay.
opportunity too. So if they still want to keep it private, we would still need a minimum of 4 people to make it private, though. If that was the case.
Cool.
Sorry, it took me a little bit to get there.
No, that's okay. Don't worry. Not everybody had their ice cream and espresso this morning, so they
Oh,
didn't get the double sugar plus caffeine.
yeah. Now I'm taking a sip to get my brain going again. Sorry.
One of the things too, for those of you that are tuning in, especially if you're newer, we did a webinar a couple weeks ago with Jen Lee from formerly TPI. Now she's at Vacation Planners, but she did one on how, like, that was so inspirational for a lot of people on how to get groups, for people that just kind of get, I don't want to say analysis paralysis, but get a little overwhelmed or are nervous. She breaks it down into 4 steps. It's perfect if G Adventures groups is something you're looking to do. We're going to pop the link in the comments, but watch that, because that'll give you like the steps to take if you're feeling like, I want to do this, but
Hmm.
I'm a little bit nervous and I need someone to rah cheer me on.
Nice. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so Teresa is also asking, by retail, is that the normal rate? Isn't it a discounted rate? Um,
So if it's a published date, and If it's published, it'll match whatever's out there, and if there are offers in the market, we will match those offers. Yes.
Mhm. Does that so, Teresa, hopefully that answers your question on that. And for I forgot to say this in the beginning, but people are already doing this, but if you have questions, pop them in the comments, and we'll be able to answer those. Um, let's see. Let's see if there was any other ones I missed. Not a yet. Um, let's see. So maybe, Jeremy, I imagine since you work with a ton of advisors and have been with G for so long, what do you see the most successful advisors? I'm sure you've seen people that went from like no experience to booking a ton of groups. What's kind of some main things people are doing that go from being brand new to being really successful with groups?
Absolutely. I think it's just having a presence on social media. I mean, as much as some of us like me, I'm not the best social media
Oh
person, but
yeah, terrible.
having a presence on there and actually reaching we've seen a few advisors be extremely successful by just being in community groups and hearing people that are talking about interests in travel and just saying, hey, actually I have experience doing that. If you want to check out my blog that I'm doing, some people are doing blogs and doing write-ups about their trips, and then featuring that as a way to lead them to their website, and then on the website that's where they see, oh, this person's hosting a group. So it's sort of a not really salesy
Mm,
pushy, it's just saying, "Hey, I actually have a lot of information that might be useful for you." And then that's drawing in the interest, and then they're seeing, "Oh, wow, this person does a lot of runs their own group trips. This is great."
mhm.
Seen a lot of new to industry folks do that, and they're doing it in various channels, even like TikTok as well, which is crazy. I never, I'm not a TikTok person, but
The few times I go on there, all I see is dogs. It's totally got me nailed, and I'm like, "I can't. I just spent 30 minutes looking at dogs. I can't."
Yep, but, yeah, we definitely, I would say Facebook's probably a good, one that I see a lot of success stories with advisors. So they're joining a lot of clubs and just participating in the commentary or maybe some of the posts of the week. They're just adding their take. They're not selling like, "Hey, I have a trip here," because that's kinda weird, and we don't wanna be that person, on the group when it's clearly not the right spot to be doing that, but
Mhm,
more of feeding feeding them information to lead them back to you. So you're basically just dangling the carrot a little bit, saying, I have some information. I've done a blog on it, that type of things. Or, yeah, just leading them back to your website or wherever you want to host everything. So,
so are those advisors then taking advantage of the G Adventures travel advisor rates, going on the trip, doing really in-depth write-ups or multiple write-ups? Is that how they kind of get the information for the trip?
correct. Yep. And it's a robust formula, but hey, it's working. So, in addition to that, I mean, there's been some agencies that have been very successful. That's just groups as they have it blocked out. Typically, what I would say is start small, make a goal. Say, I want to do one group every 6 months. And then once you start getting into that, then say, okay, now I did two groups last year. Let's try four, one a quarter. And then you're going to start saying there's a monthly thing. Now I'm going to be start doing groups every month. And then eventually you'll start handing them off to other group leaders to take on, and you are running the business doing picking cherry picking the trips that you want to go on, but then having some sub agents or some other folks that are maybe people that are part of the organization you're partnering with being the group leader on the trip. That's how we see it trickling as like a long play. As you start very small with one to two, and then you start
Mhm,
building as you get used to it, and then it becomes an oiled machine, and you'll start running kind of the same departures as well, and you'll know how everything runs very efficiently. And that's how we've seen a lot of agents grow from zero to hero in like 3 years, 4 years. So
mhm. And I think, like, what you're saying too that's really important is setting that goal, but also committing to it. Because G Adventures is great because it doesn't have the deposit, but that is not an excuse not to do things. Like, you should be holding yourself accountable and taking deposits or doing something so that you're not like, "Oh, well, no one signed up, so shoot, that didn't work." Like, definitely hold yourself accountable. So, question, are groups a kind of niche a new advisor could aim for, or should they specialize further than just groups? What are your thoughts on that?
That's good. Um, I would say for a newer agent, definitely find your specialization. Get comfortable. You want to be an expert, and I think specializing in things first before jumping into it, because groups is kind of vague as well, because there's so many types of groups. So
Mhm.
you can be like, I want to be the active adventure specialist first, and then I'm going to be promoting active and adventure groups, if that makes sense, or even destination specific. You
Yep.
might want to learn more about a specific destination and really get comfortable selling retail there first, and then being like, okay, I sell a good volume of retail. People come to me for that. Now I want to try to start leading my own private groups for that destination.
Mhm. The other thing, I know G Adventures has fam trips throughout the year for advisors. Is that all information all in Sherpa as well?
So that'll be in our Facebook group, or we'll even pop it up in our link tree when we do launch them. So
Mhm.
we are doing more, I would say, exclusive FAMs with agency partners. So some of you might start seeing those pop up. I know we've done a few with like even an example, not the name drop, but we've done a few with like YouTube Travel before in the past. I think we're going to be doing one with Uniglobe, and then every now and then we'll do a consortium FAM, which they'll help market out to you as well. Definitely hop on our Facebook group, and then you'll start seeing some of the general FAMs come up there. And Also, we'll be diligent in reaching out to some of your agency owners to pass that information if there is an opportunity where we partner with them to do an exclusive for the agency.
Yeah, so check with your host, consortia. If you're not familiar with what a fam trip is, we'll put a link to an article in there. But the value of going on FAMs, I think, versus doing the 50% rate, which is still great because you can experience it, but then you get to experience it as an actual traveler. But with FAM trips, I think it's really great because number one, you're getting to network with all these other advisors, some of which might be big G sellers,
Mhm.
and they can tell you the tips and the tricks, like, people share so freely on those trips, and then you're also usually being led, is it by a GPS that usually leads it, Jeremy, or
So, yep, one of our GPSs will be on it, and then we actually, seeing a lot of demand, we might start bringing some of our private group GCOs on there as well. So the coordinator that you would be potentially working with for private groups, and I think that would be great opportunity as well. So we're gonna start bringing on some other folks too to some of these trips to really help you out and be successful selling G.
Yeah, and that's great for people just to number one, get some face time in with the team that they're gonna be working with, but also it helps you again, when you go as the traveler, that's really great because you get the experience as a traveler, but then this side, you get to see kind of like the inner workings, you get tips that are trade specific, that are incredibly valuable to you. So make sure you're checking in with your host agency or your consortia, or you could also reach out to whoever your GPS is, um, and check in to see. Because do you normally do them in the fall then?
So we'll have some in the fall, and then we'll do spring departures. I think for this year we're going to be launching a lot of stuff in 25. So we're going to kind of push stuff off to 25. So you'll see some items maybe in that April May timeframe is when we'll start doing some of our first FAMs for next year.
Cool. So keep an eye out for that, everybody. And I don't see any other questions that are coming in yet. Yeah. So anything else you want to share with us, Jeremy?
New opportunity for us. It's a new travel style that we launched. I believe we might have mentioned in previous videos that we did with you or segments. But we just launched the Deluxe collection,
Oh,
which is our newest travel style. This is a premium active travel style. So we've had a lot of folks say we love G Adventures. We want to do active stuff, but nobody's offering upgraded or a soft landing at night.
this is
So
step style travel.
yeah. So, in terms of what the Deluxe is, again, this is going to be an adults only active travel line that's a little more premium. It is along the lines of a National Geographic Journeys in terms of service level and inclusions, but again, the focus is more active. And we do some fun branding in there because we're G and we don't want to take ourselves too seriously. So we have a branded OMG stay, and there's always going to be one property that's going to be over the top, iconic, character rich of the destination, and that's going to be part of the experience while you're there. And then we're going to be doing what we call an OMG day, where you get to pick between two activities that are more active focused. So maybe like kayaking, or there may be some also like culinary aspects thrown in there. But those are really fun ones that I'm really excited for. And they just started their departures this month. So we'll have some more feedback hopefully soon. But
Oh, wow. I didn't realize the like departures were just starting. Wow, that's super cool.
So yeah, we launched this back in November, and now we've been waiting eagerly. And I'm happy to share this has been the fastest growing launch of a travel style that we've done in our history. So it's doing great. So definitely check it out if you have active clients that want a little more upgraded inclusions. The Deluxe is definitely one I would recommend.
Oh, that's fantastic. I can't wait to that's really neat. But also very smart because, you know, some of us like to have a nice soft bed for those old hips when we go to bed at night.
Well, it's funny. We've had some so G Adventures has a lot of repeat travelers, some that even started with us back in the early days in the early 90s when we
Yeah.
first launching, and they're like, we want to still do it, but we we just we just kind of want to be a little more comfortable now. It's can't I don't want to go camping anymore or something.
I know. I totally get it.
And a fun story that everyone I keep telling this story because I think it's hilarious. I did the Inca Trail this past September, and so the Inca Trail is a camping experience. And for those that have clients that ask if there's hotels, just tell them like this is an experience. This is something different. As soon as I finished the trip, my VP of product came up to me. He goes, "Oh, well, you should have waited. We're launching this new travel style, and it's gonna have glamping on the Inca Trail, upgraded camping." I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "Oh, it was." There's part of me that wanted to punch him, but then the other side was okay. Well, actually, I got to do the original experience, so you know what? I'll say I survived that, had fun, but I'm kind of mad I didn't get to do the glamping version 8.
You're like, I wish I would have done the experience a decade ago. That would have been perfect for me.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, let's see, we got a couple more questions in. So, do they offer adventures that would accommodate disabled people, semi-disabled people using a scooter, not a wheelchair?
I would say just on the adventure realm, that's probably not the best fit just because of it's on the go a lot. And some of these places, these remote places just don't have the resources of the community built like that, unfortunately. Some of
Mhm.
the major places, yeah, of course, they're adapting, and I've seen our industry come a long way. But I know in terms of the adventure world, it's a little more rough around the edges in some of these places.
Yeah, without the well, even with the ADA here in the United States, it still can be rocky, but especially without any rules or regulations around it, there's not really,
Not enough
um
consistency yet in the adventure world for that.
mhm,
Yeah.
yep. Another question. Hi from Ontario, Canada. Hello, we're just south of you. Very great to see you. What do you recommend for older adults in terms of age limits? They hate that word, but like, so I don't know. Do you need more clarification on that, Jeremy?
I'm trying to think, I guess, are they speaking about trips potentially? Trips that we wanna offer them?
Yeah,
Um,
maybe type in a little bit more and let us know if you're because the G-Lux sounds like it would be a really good fit for them. But if you're wondering, like is 70 too much to do the adventure travel?
mm,
Give us a little more context, and then while you're
absolutely.
doing that, you can chat on it.
Cool. No, actually, funny enough, yeah, I've been on, I would say, 15 G Adventures experiences now. I've done a lot of classic trips, which is our quintessential G trip. And I've seen ages up to 70 and 80 on some of these trips, even the active ones. I've done there was one I did, the Laris trek where I've had some friends that were in their early 60s doing the Laris trek with me. The Inca Trail, I even had some folks that were in their 50s. The one surprising one I had, I would say, was Everest Base Camp, which is another extreme. We had someone in their 70s on our departure
What?
with us. So, yes, it's a matter. I would say it's a style. It's a lot. We treat it like a style, a lifestyle, travel style, and age doesn't really matter on a travel style. Obviously, if you are uh, cleared and medically fit to do these things, then absolutely, we're not going to restrict you on that. I would just say it's just a matter of making sure that they have they're cleared by their doctor and they have experience doing these. The only thing I would factor in and be mindful of is like destinations of high altitude and doing active elements in high altitude. If you're not used to doing that, it may take a bigger toll on you than it normally would. That's the only caution I would provide on that instance. But all of our trips, we have travel styles. Fit them with the right travel style. If they don't want to do an active trip, don't book them on an active travel style. Book them on maybe a local living where it's just, whining and dining and day trips out and about, walking around. That would be what I would recommend. Or maybe something like a National Geographic, which would be more of an upgraded, slower paced itinerary. We do have even our marine vessels. Those would be probably more comfortable, like the Reina Silvia Voyager, which is our Galapagos vessel that we built, and that's the most upgraded product that we have. So it's a matter of putting them in the right travel style based on their needs, and that's why we segment our trips out into various travel styles to help you in the qualifying process.
Yeah, definitely qualifying them on what they're looking for, and then the expectations with now we all know the Inca Trail is not for the faint of heart, and it's for those people that don't mind camping old school. So if you have questions on that, I would definitely read more on the product and reach out to your GPS if you need to.
Definitely reach out to your GPS. We'd be more than happy to kind of give you the ins and outs, and we'll even tell you this is probably not the right trip. Let's do this.
Yeah, wealth of information there though, seriously, to tap into, especially because your team is so experienced and has experienced the product so much. And then they said, Totally Trippy says, good thought on the high altitude, which I also thought. So thanks for that tip.
Yeah, I mean, it hit me. It hurt me too. I'm like, I did Everest base camp like 10 years ago, and then I came and just did the Inca Trail last year, and wow, it still hit me like a brick wall. I just, uh,
I too. Yeah. I used to live in Colorado at like 10,000 feet. And, I worked on the mountain and skied and like I would cross country ski, which I was terrible at because of the altitude, but I could do it. And then when we went to Ecuador this last summer, I got terrible, terrible altitude sickness, like was throwing up. I was so sick. Um, and so I do think it affects you very differently as you age.
and there's no formula to it either. There's no formula. Some people doesn't bother them a tick, and then
Yeah.
you could be the most fit, active person, and then all of a sudden you're like, "What is happening?" Like,
I know we were on the bus ride to the hotel and they were saying something like, "Now, as we're arriving, some of you might getting some altitude sickness. Some of the symptoms are, you might get a light headache." And I had been like thinking like, "God, I'm getting like a headache. It must be like this lack." And like everything she was saying was like checking off my list. And
uh-oh.
then by the end of the night, I was like on the floor, like throwing up and being like, "I think I have altitude sickness."
Yep. Oh,
So cool. I think that's all the questions we have for today. If you have any more, pop them in the questions. We'll stay on for another minute, maybe. But if you have questions, or if you are watching this after, because I know a lot of people watch the recording of this, you can pop them in the comments on YouTube or Facebook if you're watching on there. Otherwise, the slide that Jeremy had up earlier with the GPS, you can find out who your local GPS is and establish a relationship with them. Send them a note, send them a cute picture of your animal. I know they would love that. So, um, don't you think, Jeremy?
yeah, of course, absolutely. I have a golden retriever. I know.
Oh my gosh, he's so seem like a golden retriever type. I love it.
Um,
I have a dog that's part devil, so I'm not sure what that says about me. I have a really sweet one and then one that's like part devil. So
gotta balance it out.
I know, I guess so. I don't want to reflect on that too much in public right now. So, um, well, thank you so much for joining us, Jeremy. It's a pleasure as always. Great to see you. Again, reminder, he is taking off for South Africa and doing a really amazing tour. So follow along with him on what's the best one to follow along? LinkedIn, Facebook?
Facebook and Instagram will probably be the 2. So I have them all linked
Okay.
together. So
Okay, cool. Check out Facebook, check out LinkedIn. You can look up Jeremy Brady. And thank you again for joining us,
yeah,
Jeremy.
thank you. It was so good to see you. Thank you for having me. And hopefully I'll get to run into everyone out there. See you out there and enjoy the summer. It's looking like it's gonna be a good summer.
I know. Thank you all for joining us as well. Laverne, Denise, Nettie, Teresa, wonderful. Thank you for being active in the comments, and we will see you all soon. Thanks, everybody.